We compared his debate answers back in 2016 to the ones that he gave this week. After the very first question on the issue of immigration, that is right there in his wheelhouse. This week, as you'll see, he veers off topic several times. Watch.
Well, first of all, she wants to give amnesty, which is a disaster and very unfair to all of the people that are waiting in line for many, many years. We need strong borders. First, let me respond as to the rallies. She said people start leaving. People don't go to her rallies. There's no reason to go. They're coming in illegally. Drugs are pouring in through the border. We have no country if we have no border. People don't leave my rallies. We have the biggest rallies, the most incredible rallies in the history of politics. The single biggest problem is heroin that pours across our southern borders, just pouring and destroying their youth. And what's going on here, you're going to end up in World War III, just to go into another subject. What they have done to our country by allowing these millions and millions of people to come into our country. Now, I want to build the wall. We need the wall. The Border Patrol, ICE, they all want the wall. We stop the drugs. We shore up the border. In Springfield, they're eating the dogs, the people that came in. They're eating the cats. They're eating the pets of the people that live there. And once the border is secured, at a later date, we'll make a determination as to the rest. But we have some bad hombres here, and we're going to get them out. If she becomes president, this country doesn't have a chance of success. Not only success, we'll end up being Venezuela on steroids.
This is Michael Popok, Legal AF. It's not only the mental decline of Donald Trump, which you just saw CNN demonstrate and illustrate through side-by-side comparisons of his answers to similar questions in 2016 and on the debate with Kamala Harris. It's also because Donald Trump is now relying for his debate prep and for his policy initiatives and for his campaign direction on alt-right MAGA influencers and podcasters, election deniers, vaccine deniers, none larger than, and none playing a larger role in his life than, Laura Loomer. Laura Loomer, you may have heard of her. She's 31 years old. She's a right-wing, alt-right activist, lives in Florida, often attends Mar-a-Lago events. She's the one that creates many of the memes that we're now dealing with. Cats and dogs and pets being in Ohio, being eaten in Ohio by Haitian immigrants. Go back to Laura Loomer. She's also somebody that's, and think about this, Donald Trump not only had her as the last word at his ear in debate prep. So of course, within 27 minutes of the debate, having now run out of fresh ideas, being incoherent, being mentally incapacitated, Donald Trump reached out like for a life preserver for Laura Loomer's comments about cats and dogs. We were all wondering on the MeidasTouch network and at home, why is he talking about cats and dogs and pets being eaten in the first 28 minutes of a 2-hour debate, which is now going to be his only debate, apparently. He did so poorly, he doesn't want to see his backside kicked up and down the debate stage again by Kamala Harris. That's not going to help him get elected. He's already calculated. But now we know why it came up so early, why he went for that life preserver, which was really an anvil being thrown to a drowning man by Laura Loomer. He now has a 31-year-old alt-right MAGA who's so far outside the mainstream of even MAGA that even MAGA thinks she's crazy. Marjorie Taylor Greene is in a battle right now with Laura Loomer because for even Marjorie Taylor Greene, Laura Loomer has gone too far. And Laura Loomer has wormed her way into the innermost sanctum of Donald Trump. She was involved with debate prep. She went with him to the spin room when Donald Trump inexplicably decided that he wanted to spin his own debate performance rather than let proxies do it. She was by his side. She was on the plane that flew to the debate. She went with, think about this, Laura Loomer, who is a 9/11 denier, who believes that 9/11 was an inside job, okay, was next to Donald Trump in Shakersville, Pennsylvania for one of the 9/11 memorial events. Think about that. In addition, there was, and it's also led by Laura Loomer and others, and this is all in great reporting coming out of the New York Times by Ken Bensinger. There's also, think about this, the Trump campaign, meaning Donald Trump, and Laura Loomer set up in a social media war room so there would be real-time reactions to the debate. And so think about who was, now they set up shop in a hotel that happened to be the same hotel that Kamala Harris was in. And think about who's in this room. Here's who was in the room, hired by the Trump campaign to handle social media real-time response as the debate was going on. We've got Libs, the head of Libs of TikTok, which is run by Chaya Rachik. She is a notorious MAGA alt-right person. Jack Posobiec, who's a right-wing podcaster, who's also an election denier. DC Drano, who's also an election denier and anti-vaxxer. Jack Posobiec, by the way, led the Pizzagate scandal, where he accused Hillary Clinton and others in the Democratic Party of eating children and running a child slavery and pornography ring out of a chain of pizza restaurants in and around Washington, D.C. So you got that guy, Libs of TikTok's head, DC Drano, and Laura Loomer. That alone should be disqualifying for anybody trying to run for the presidency. The fact that he would hire these people to be paid by them to try to sow misinformation and run a disinformation campaign against Kamala Harris in real time. By the way, even they weren't successful. Every poll shows that at least 70% of America thought knew Kamala Harris won that debate. And even 30% of Republicans in MAGA thought she won the debate. If you can get 30% of MAGA to support any Democrat, that's a grand slam home run. Let's face it, after a night with drinks, I don't bounce back the next day like I used to. I have to make a choice. I can either have a great night or a great next day. That is until I found ZBiotics pre-alcohol probiotic drink. ZBiotics pre-alcohol probiotic drink is the world's first genetically engineered probiotic. It was invented by PhD scientists to tackle rough mornings after drinking. Here's how it works. When you drink, alcohol gets converted into a toxic byproduct in the gut. It's this byproduct, not dehydration, that's to blame for your rough next day. Pre-alcohol produces an enzyme to break this byproduct down. Just remember to make ZBiotics your first drink of the night, drink responsibly, and you'll feel your best tomorrow. Now look, I won't lie. I was a bit on the fence about pre-alcohol initially. But then, while hanging out with my fantasy football draft crew over at our favorite Jersey Shore sports bar, I gave it a shot. And believe me, it's the real deal. I spent the entire next day doing all my favorite things with my family, including a long hike on our favorite trail. I kept hearing about pre-alcohol, and I wondered what it was actually like. But now that I've tried it, I believe the hype. And with their GMO technology, they will release different products that help address toxic byproducts of modern living in the gut. Go to zbiotics.com/legalaf to learn more and get 15% off your first order when you use LegalAF at checkout. ZBiotics is backed with a 100% money-back guarantee. So if you're unsatisfied for any reason, they'll refund your money. No questions asked. Remember to head to zbiotics.com/legalaf and use the code legalaf at checkout for 15% off. Now, of course, the fact that Laura Loomer is a earworm for Donald Trump, so close to him that she was on the plane to and from the debate, in the debate prep room. This explains everything. I mean, I literally, before we started recording, I was like, how did possibly Donald Trump think in the 27th minute of the debate, it was time to bring up that he was going to be the protector of cats and dogs in Ohio? Where did that come from? Now we know. Well, when you lay down with dogs, just to continue the metaphor, you get fleas or you get an election loss. So if you're going to lay down Donald Trump with Laura Loomer, who's now been your primary debate person, the Libs of TikTok, Jack Posobiec of Pizzagate infamy, and DC Drano, this is what they have. This is why I keep saying MAGA and the Republican Party is speaking of Drano, is drained of any intellectual heft, any intellectual morals or values. They're hollowed out. It's a shell of themselves. We're one party short of a two-party system, as I've said before. We've got the Democratic Party, which every major Republican leader, and there's more than 200 of them, have come out not only to say that they're going to vote for Kamala Harris, but why? because there's only one party in their view. It's binary, that is there to protect the rule of law, our constitutional republic, and the peaceful transfer of power, and that's the Democrats. Let me make this clear on this hot take, as I have on Legal AF and other places. I am in favor of a healthy two-party system in this country. I'm not a socialist. I'm not a Marxist. Okay, I am for all intents and purposes, I'm a moderate Democrat. I have been my entire life. This society needs and wants a healthy Republican Party on the other side where we can have a debate about ideals, about ideas, about policy, about domestic and foreign initiatives. I want to have that debate with a healthy counterparty on the other side. I want to have that debate about what we should do to support NATO or not, what we should do to support foreign interest or not, what we should do about our war efforts or not, social programs, how we protect the rights of the disenfranchised, of the disadvantaged in this society. I want to have that debate of ideas in the public marketplace. But I can't have a debate when the other side is enthralled with a cult leader. The fact that Donald Trump takes his marching orders from Laura Loomer and from people like Jack Posobiec and DC Drano, does that tell you that he's going to be a competent leader of the free world as he turns to his 83rd and 84th year in office? Or is he completely out of gas and unwell, which is what we saw in the opening CNN clip, and here the new reporting just under the surface? Where are the professional conservative Republican advisors in Donald Trump's camp? Name them for me. I have time. I have a pen and a piece of paper. Tell me who they are. I know who they are in the Democratic side. I know the former Obama officials and campaign officials that are now aligned with Kamala Harris. I know Republican leaders that are aligned with Kamala Harris. I know people that have been in government and government service for 20, 30, and 40 years who are helping Kamala Harris both in her future transition team, in her selection of a cabinet, in her selection of the big four cabinet positions, right? State, defense, justice, and the like. I get who her people are. I see the Obama people coming over to help her. I see the Biden people that have come over to help Kamala Harris. I know their names. None of them are anti-vaxxers. None of them are election deniers. None of them are 9/11 deniers. None of them think 9/11 was an inside job. None of them think that Butler, Pennsylvania, and whatever happened to Donald Trump on that stage was the result of Joe Biden giving a kill order. But the group of people I just told you are in Donald Trump's inner circle and could end up in his administration. All believe that. We got to call it out. We do it one place on the dial, the MeidasTouch Network, and on Legal AF. We sit at the intersection of law and politics on Wednesdays and Saturdays at 8 p.m., and we pull it all together with you. Find out what 40 million people a month already know, that Legal AF is the home on this YouTube universe of law and politics commentary and analysis like no other. If you like what we're doing here, join me on Wednesdays at 8 p.m. and Saturdays at 8 p.m. Wednesdays, I do it on 8 p.m. Eastern Time with Karen Friedman, Nick Nifilo. Saturday with Ben Meiselas. We curate in a long-format podcast the top 3 or 4 stories at the crossroads of law and politics and bring it to you here on this YouTube channel. Free subscribe to the MeidasTouch YouTube channel and help them get to, listen to this number, 4 million subscribers. Really important. No outside investors here, independent, no censorship. We're building this network with our audience's help collectively, by word of mouth, organically. And then if you like audio podcasts, Legal AF Audio, pick that up wherever you get your podcast from. So until my next hot take, until my next Legal AF, this is Michael Popak. Heary, heary, Legal AF Law Breakdown is now in session. Go beyond the headlines and get a deep dive into the important legal concepts you need to know, and we discuss every day on Legal AF. Exclusive content you won't find anywhere else, all for the price of a couple of cups of coffee. Join us at patreon.com/legalaf. That's patreon.com/legalaf.